You wake up to the sound of rats scratching inside the walls. The air in your room tastes like rust and old fish. There's a leak somewhere above, dripping brown water into a bucket you forgot to empty. You're 23 years old, and this is all you have: a mattress with springs cutting through fabric, a hot plate that only works when you slam it twice, and a window that looks out onto the seaport where container ships groan like dying animals. Your father drowned when you were 12. Fishing accident, they said, but everyone knew the boat owner cut corners on safety gear. Your mother lasted 3 more years before the cancer took her. No insurance, no savings, just medical bills that still have your name on them passed down like a family curse. You dropped out of school to work the docks, loading, unloading, 12-hour shifts that turn your hands into leather and your back into a knot of permanent pain. You make barely enough to eat: rice, canned beans, sometimes an egg if you skip breakfast the next day. The landlord stands outside your door every month, knocking with the patience of a man who's evicted dozens before you. You see the people in the city center sometimes, stepping out of cars that cost more than you'll make in your entire life, and you wonder what it's like to never count coins, to never feel your stomach eating itself. This is your life. This is all it will ever be. Then your sister collapses. She's 16, still in school. You've been breaking yourself in half to keep her there, to give her the chance you never had. But when she faints during class and the hospital finally tells you what's wrong, the number they give you might as well be the distance to the moon. Heart surgery, $30,000, 6 weeks, they say. Maybe 8 if she's lucky. After that, the muscle starts to fail permanently. You go to the bank first. The woman behind the desk looks at your loan application like it's written in a dead language. No collateral, no credit history, no degree. She doesn't even finish reading it before sliding the paper back across the desk. You try your uncle next, your mother's brother who owns a small garage. He lights a cigarette and won't meet your eyes. Quote, 0, he says. Quote 1. You ask your supervisor at the dock. You ask former classmates. You ask people you barely know. The answer is always the same: a slow shake of the head, an uncomfortable silence, a door closing softly in your face. 3 weeks pass. Your sister gets thinner. Her lips turn the color of old bruises. She doesn't complain. She never does. But you see the way she presses her hand to her chest when she thinks you're not looking. The hospital calls. They're very sorry, but without a deposit, they can't schedule the procedure. You sit on the edge of her bed that night and promise her everything will be okay. You're lying. You both know it. That's when Anton finds you. He's older, maybe 40, with gray creeping into his temples and a scar that runs from his ear to his collarbone. You've seen him around the port, everyone has, but nobody talks about what he does. Not directly. He buys you coffee in a place where the windows are tinted so dark you can barely see inside. The espresso machine hisses like a snake. Quote 2, he says, not a question. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. You tell him the number, 30,000. He doesn't blink. Your throat goes dry. Anton slides a photograph across the table, a shipping container, red with a specific code stenciled on the side. Quote 5, he taps the photo. Quote 6, quote 7, quote 8. His eyes are flat, dead, shark eyes. Quote 9. He shrugs. Quote 10. You think about walking away. You think about going to the police. But then you remember the hospital room, the beeping machines, your sister's hand cold in yours. You think about the landlord's knock, the empty refrigerator, the rats in the walls. Anton's smile widens. Then you better make sure you don't, because if you talk to anyone, cops, port authority, anyone, I'll know, and I'll come for what you owe me. Not money, something else. He leans forward. His breath smells like cigarettes and something sweet, rotting. I know a guy who deals in organs. Hearts go for a lot on the black market. Funny, right? Your sister needs one. Other people need them too. Circle of life. You sign away your soul without putting pen to paper. You shake his hand. His palm is cold. The next night comes too fast. The port is different in darkness. The floodlights create pools of harsh white that make the shadows even deeper. You've walked these docks 1,000 times, but tonight every sound is amplified. The creak of metal, the slap of water against concrete, your own heartbeat hammering in your ears. The container arrives on schedule. Red. The code matches. You watch it get unloaded, swinging through the air like a coffin on chains. Your clipboard feels slippery in your hands. You're supposed to mark it for random inspection. There's a quota, and this one fits the profile. But instead you check the box that sends it straight through. Your pen shakes. The ink smears slightly. The night supervisor walks past. He's known you for 3 years. Good kid, he called you once. Hard working. He glances at your clipboard, at the container, and for one terrible second you think he knows. Your legs feel like water, but he just nods and keeps walking, coffee cup steaming in his hand. You redirect the paperwork, change the warehouse address in the system. It takes 90 seconds. Your fingers hover over the keyboard, and you think about all the detective shows you've watched, all the ways people get caught, digital footprints, security cameras. But then you think about your sister's face, and you hit enter. The container disappears into the night. Anton meets you in the same cafe 3 days later. He slides an envelope across the table. You don't count it, not here, but you can feel the weight of it, thick and heavy. Quote 14, he says. Quote 15, you take the envelope. The paper feels obscene against your skin, like something alive. Your sister gets the surgery. The doctors say she's lucky. Another week, and it would have been too late. You sit beside her hospital bed and watch her sleep, the monitors tracking her new, steady heartbeat. You paid cash. The administrator asks questions with her eyes, but not her mouth. Your sister wakes up weak, but smiling. I knew you'd figure something out, she whispers. You always do. You want to tell her the truth. You want to confess. But instead you smile back and squeeze her hand and swallow the words like broken glass. Anton calls 2 weeks later. Another container. Another 40,000. You did good last time, he says. I want to make this a regular thing. You tell yourself this is the last time. Just once more. To get ahead, to build a cushion, but there's always another container, another call. The money gets better. 50,000, 70. Anton introduces you to other people. Men in expensive suits who shake your hand and talk about, quote, 20. You start to understand what's in the containers. You don't open them, but you're not stupid. Drugs, weapons, maybe people. You don't ask. You stopped asking. The money changes everything. You move into a real apartment, 2 bedrooms, hot water that works. You buy your sister new clothes, books, a laptop for school. She thinks you got promoted. You let her believe it. You get better at the work. Faster. You learn which inspectors can be bribed, which ones to avoid. You learn how to forge documents, how to manipulate the scheduling system. You're not just moving containers anymore. You're running an entire operation. Anton makes you his right hand. Quote 21, he says. Quote 22. The years blur. You're 27 now. You wear clothes that fit. You eat at restaurants where they don't list prices on the menu. Your sister graduates high school, gets into college, pre-med. She wants to be a surgeon, to help people the way she was helped. The irony would be funny if it didn't make you want to vomit. You've become someone else. The dock workers who used to know you don't meet your eyes anymore. They know what you are now, even if they can't prove it. You carry a gun. Anton gave it to you after a shipment got hijacked. Quote 23, he said. You've never fired it, but you've pointed it at people. You've watched them kneel. You've watched them cry. You tell yourself you're doing it for her, for your sister. Every dirty dollar, every compromised soul, it's all for her future. You're building something, a legacy, security. But late at night, alone in your expensive apartment, you can still smell the rust and old fish from that first room. You can still hear the rats. Anton brings you a new opportunity. I'm expanding, he says. I need someone I trust to run the port operation, full control. 20% of everything that moves through. We're talking millions. He pours you whiskey that costs more than your father made in a year. You've earned this. You take the job. You hire your own crew. Young kids, desperate, just like you were. You see yourself in their eyes. That same hunger, that same desperation. You tell yourself you're giving them a chance. But you know what you're really doing. You're feeding them to the same machine that chewed you up. Your sister gets engaged. A good guy, medical student. She brings him to dinner, and you can see the way he looks at your apartment, your watch, your car. Quote, 27, he asks. You give him the rehearsed answer. Import, export, logistics. He doesn't believe you, but he's too polite to press. Your sister glows with happiness. She wants you to walk her down the aisle. Quote, 28, she says. Quote, 29. The words cut deeper than any knife. The shipment that destroys everything arrives on a Tuesday. Routine job. Container from overseas, marked as machine parts. You've done this 1,000 times, but when your crew redirects it to the warehouse, federal agents are waiting. Not Port Authority, not local cops, FBI, DEA. They've been watching for months. Someone talked. Someone always talks. Your crew scatters. Most of them get caught. 2 get shot. You're not there. You learned years ago to never be present for the actual handoff. But your name is in the system, your fingerprints on documents, your face on security footage from a dozen different transactions. Anton calls. His voice is ice. You need to leave now. They're coming for you. What about... Forget about everyone. This is survival. I'll handle the cleanup. You think about running. You have money hidden, fake passports, exit strategies you've planned for exactly this moment. But then you think about your sister. Her wedding is in 3 months. She's supposed to graduate next year. She's supposed to have a life. You go to her apartment instead. She's studying. Textbooks spread across her kitchen table. She looks up when you come in, and her smile dies when she sees your face. What's wrong? You try to explain. You try to make her understand that everything, the surgery, the apartment, college, all of it, was built on poison. That you're not who she thinks you are. That you've done terrible things. That people are dead because of you. She doesn't cry. She just stares at you like you're a stranger. Get out, she whispers. I don't know you. Please, I did it for... Get out. The federal agents arrest you 3 days later. They have everything. Witness testimony, financial records, surveillance footage. Your expensive lawyer, paid for with dirty money, shakes his head. 20 years minimum, maybe 30. You should take the deal, testify against the others. But you don't. Because the first rule Anton taught you is that snitches don't last long, even in prison. And because some part of you, some small remaining piece of the person you used to be, refuses to drag anyone else down with you. Your sister doesn't come to the trial. She doesn't visit. She sends back every letter you write unopened. Her fiancé releases a statement saying they had no knowledge of your criminal activities. She changes her last name, erases you. Anton sends someone, not to help, to make sure you stay quiet. They find you in the prison yard, quick, professional, a shank between the ribs, angled up. You bleed out on concrete that smells like cigarettes in despair. Your last thoughts aren't profound. You don't see your life flash before your eyes. You just remember that first room, the rats, the rust, the dripping water. You remember your sister's hand in yours, cold and small, and how you promised her everything would be okay. You were trying to save her. Instead, you destroyed everything you touched, including yourself. The guards find your body. They write a report. Your death makes the local news for one day, quote 39, and then everyone forgets. Your sister becomes a surgeon. She helps people. She saves lives. She never speaks your name again. You wanted to escape the bottom. But the bottom followed you all the way up, and it was waiting when you reached the top. You thought you were building something. You thought the money would change everything. You were right. It did. What would you have done differently? Would you have let her die? Would you have found another way? Or would you have made the same choices, taken the same path, walked the same road straight into darkness? These questions don't matter now. You're gone. But your story remains a warning, a tragedy, a reminder that some prices are too high even when you're desperate, even when you're trying to save someone you love. The container ships keep coming. The port keeps running. New, desperate kids make the same deals with different devils. The machine feeds. It always feeds. And somewhere, in a hospital, your sister repairs a damaged heart, never knowing that hers was the first one you broke.